So a lot of people are asking me about Venezuela annexing Guyana. And to get you up to speed, Venezuela has more oil reserves than any country in the world. Not the greatest oil, but and they were sanctioned under the Trump administration. And recently, the Biden administration have allowed them to start producing small amounts of oil, mainly because U.S. companies have invested so much money there. But they've basically decided that they want a big part of Guyana and that they're just going to take it. They literally held an election to just take it. And why is that important? Because Guyana, in the last few years have had massive oil discoveries. And this region that Venezuela wants offshore holds about 11 billion barrels of oil. And oil production in the country of Guyana has more than tripled in the last couple of years. So Venezuela wants it. We are going to see more and more of this happen for a couple of reasons. Number one is OPEC's promise to keep a price floor of $80 a barrel and their continual cutting of oil production. And you're wondering, what does that have to do with this? By OPEC keeping a price floor of $80 on oil prices, it limits what United States presidents can do in these type of situations. These countries have a very good understanding of Americans, what Americans want, and how they go about electing people. These countries understand that Americans have no stomach for high gas prices, and they use that to their advantage. Because that sensitivity to high gas prices literally limits what presidents can do. This is why it took so long for Donald Trump to sanction Iran. He could have sanctioned them day one, but it would have made gas prices skyrocket. So he let them sell oil for nearly 3 years. Same thing with Barack Obama. Same thing with Joe Biden. Everyone's in favor of sanctioning Iran until they find out it's going to add 75 cents to a dollar at their pump. And these are the things that presidents have to weigh when deciding how they're going to respond to things like this. And these countries know that. These countries know that the president of the United States now has limited power on how to respond to these things, because his response could literally just cost him an election, because Americans are so finicky about high gas prices. And if a conflict breaks out in this area, the nation that has the number one oil reserves in the world and the upcoming emerging country that's going to be a huge oil producer in the future, if conflict breaks out in this area, that's going to drive up oil prices, and that'll have a negative impact on the election that we have coming up in a year. If OPEC wasn't keeping an $80 price floor on oil, none of this would matter. In the United States, it would just be business as usual and they could do whatever they want. But with OPEC doing what they're doing, this is going to start happening around the world to oil-rich nations, to small oil-rich nations. Because countries are betting that a president isn't willing to lose re-election over this. Countries are betting that presidents will shy away and not give an appropriate response to this. This would be the equivalent of Russia going into Ukraine. What is happening right here is the exact equivalent of Russia going into Ukraine if they go in. And if the United States responds, it is going to send oil prices up. And Venezuela knows that. And that's why they're doing it. Thanks.